Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Once again, where we talk about everything intimacy, bonding with your family through food, through entrepreneurship, whatever it is. So, welcome. What are we talking about today? You heard me singing. I'm talking about sex, intimacy, sexual intimacy. Yes, that is what we are talking about. As you know, sexual intimacy is one of the different types of intimacies, and is one that whenever you talk about intimacy, everybody's like, oh, intimacy is all about sex. So today, let's talk about sex. Let's talk about you and me. So sex, sexual intimacy, is a way that couples have chosen to pleasure themselves. It's connecting through emotions. Not all sexuals are intimate, but today we want to talk about sexual intimacy in the marriage circle. So it's one of the ways that couples have decided to be intimate with each other. And in this way, they are being vulnerable. They are being naked physically, emotionally with themselves. So they are connecting. So those are one of the benefits. And those are the things that you get when you truly connect with your spouse. So sexual intimacy is a way that couples have chosen to express themselves through the love and affection they feel towards each other. It culminates. It's like the icing on the cake. You are connected with your spouse. You love each other. You are into each other, and you are bonding. You are connecting. You're loving yourself. And so it's like sexual intimacy is the physical act to gratify yourself within that relationship, within your marital relationship. And so it's a way that you can connect. It helps you to connect through emotions with your spouse. It helps you to connect. It bonds you. It thickens your bond with each other. And so we talk about that is what sexual intimacy is all about. But there are hindrances to the sexual intimacy. There are three that I recognize here today that I want to talk about. There is the fact that some people don't like their bodies, and so they will hide. So when it's time to say, okay, let's do this, you're like, oh, put off the light, turn off the lights. I don't want to see my body. I don't want to pull my clothes. I want to get into the sheets. I want to do this. And so you're giving rules. And so you're sort of frustrating the other person. Then there is another hindrance, which is as a result of something, maybe this person must have been abused sexually growing up, or raped or molested. And so he or she is not so interested. You love your spouse quite all right, but when it comes to having to touch in that kind of way sexually, it gives you flashback. And so you become rigid and like you're not able to move past that. That is another hindrance to couples enjoying sexual intimacy. Then another one is the one mostly we experience here in Africa, which is female genital mutilation, circumcision. In this case, the clitoris would have been cut off. And so the clitoris is where the sensation is. And so if I'm not going to feel anything, and sometimes the opening had been reduced, if I'm not going to feel anything and if I'm going to have pain, why do I want to get involved? So in this way, they're like, I will love you, I would be there, I'll be intimate in every other way, but when it comes to sexual intimacy, I want to hold back myself. It's something that is some people's reality that we must recognize. And so if you are in a relationship and this is your reality, do not keep it to yourself. Talk to your spouse about it. Let him or her know your fears, your pains, the trauma you have been through. You talk about it. In sexual intimacy, communication is paramount. So you talk about your pains and your fears, and you agree on how you will navigate it. So that, because in relationship, it's not about you, it's not about the other person. It's about us. It's a team thing. And so you talk about it. How best can we handle this situation that is before us? How best can we navigate this so that we can pleasure, because the whole essence is for us to pleasure ourselves. So how best can we handle it where you are able to go past this blockade that is the issue here? So are we going to see a therapist? Are we going to will just talking about it take it away? Will me empathizing with you take it away, help you? Or would you need to see a therapist so that you can help deal with this issue and help us to move past it? Because after all, we are a team seeking to unify ourselves together in every way possible through sexual intimacy. And so, if you are able to do this, it helps you to connect with your spouse more and better, because you are emotionally feeling the other person and you're like, I hear you, I see your pain, and I sympathize with you, and so we are in this together so we can move forward. And in sexual intimacy, this hindrance, they're there. Then there's this other one that I'm going to talk about, which has to do with the sexual, understanding your sexual cycle, your sexual response cycle. The sexual response cycle for a man and for a woman, they're two different things. But before we get there, I want to talk about, before you go ahead and say, oh, you're having, you're going to have sex today as a couple, it's good to start depositing in your spouse's emotional bank account. It's no use being mean and being nasty to your spouse and later wanting him or her to come and you want to engage in sexual intercourse with your spouse. That means you are not considerate. You're not thinking about the other person. So if you know you're going to do this, that you know that you're going to get together later in the day, you start sending notes, texts, depends on how you show love to each other. So you send text just to prepare yourselves so that you are able to receive yourself in this gratification, in this intimacy. So your spouse has been working all day, maybe in the office or at home. You call and ask, how are you doing? I hope you're not so stressed out and stuff like that. And sometimes even if you really desire to have sex with your spouse and you see visibly that this person is stressed out, I would ask that you be considerate and you hold back your own desires because the other person is stressed out and would need you to be able to to show empathy towards him or her, to be able to say, you look stressed, how are you doing, how can I help you? These are things you must take into consideration before advancing yourself to say, can we do this, can we tangle? Because it will seem as if you are heartless if you are not seeing that the other person might not be in a good place to be able to receive you at this time, and you insisting that I want it, so I want to go ahead. No, it takes two to tango. And so you must be willing to see and understand that the other person is in a good place. Is this person able to receive me right now? Are we able to do this? So that when you are able to analyze this situation, you see that your spouse is in a good place, then you can go ahead. After all, it's your body, it's her body, and you are together in it, and it's a legal deal for you. So go ahead and enjoy yourself. But first of all, you must look at your spouse. You must recognize if your spouse is in a good place mentally or physically at that time, maybe. Because if you have not noticed that your spouse is in a good place, and you go ahead and say, oh, can we get jiggy and stuff like that, and the person says, I'm not in the mood, and you feel offended, but then you have not been able to look at your spouse to notice that this person might be having some issues, maybe workload, stress, the workload in the office or at home. He or she is stressed out and would require some assistance or some just nice words to say, I see you, how are you doing? I hope everything is okay and stuff like that. Just little things like that can go a long way in making the other person say, you know what, no issues, let's do this together. And so we're talking about the sexual response cycle. For a man, it's pretty much straightforward. You have the desire and you are aroused and you're like, let's do this. And you do this, you get entangled, you get involved sexually with your spouse, and you get orgasm. But for the woman, she's asking herself, I'm thinking, do I want to do this? I'm stressed. Oh, he has not been nice to me. I don't want to do this. She's thinking of her willingness to go ahead or not. And that's when, our famous headache. And we say, oh, I have a headache. Oh, I'm stressed out. I'm this and that. And that's where I say, you come in and really critically look at it. Have I been nice and helpful to my spouse? Does it really mean that my spouse is stressed out? Am I being considerate or not? Then she goes from that willingness or lack or not willing to go ahead. She goes to the next stage. Okay, she gets aroused and says, okay, yes, I want to do it. Then the next thing, she's rationalizing it again. Do I really want to? Do I not? And at this point, the man is kind of frustrated, Can we just do this or not? For a man, it's a no-brainer. I want to have sex with my wife. This is what I want. I'm clear about it. But for women, we tend to think and weigh things and put our emotions in it, and we're analyzing it. We're like, oh, I remember you. Oh, you haven't been nice to me and stuff like that. Oh, I have a headache. Oh, I'm stressed out. And all those things comes in. I don't know why we do it, but I do know that we do it. But recently, someone said, a female, and she said she's been married for 18 years and she has never said no. And I'm like, wow, is it possible? So, but I don't know why majority of women go through all this. No, I think it's a bit more like how we are wired as women and how we think and rationalize things. I don't know, but that's how I see it. That's how I see it happen. And so, but the bottom line is, for couples to enjoy intimacy sexually, there has to be communication. Communication. You have to be able to empathize with your spouse. You have to be able to see your spouse to say, this person is in the right frame of mind or not, because it's not about how I feel. I might be feeling like I want it and my spouse is not a good place. I have to be able to say, I see you. I need you to be in a good place, because you won't be able to receive me in the way you are. And so it's very important that we talk to ourselves, communicate with your spouse. Let your spouse know how you feel. If there are things that are hindering you, do that. And I want to say that for those that somehow don't like their bodies, there's nobody that's going to like your body for you. If you do not like your body and you are hiding, don't turn on the light and stuff like that. There's nobody that's going to like your body. You've got to go through that process of liking your body, however way it is. After all, your spouse saw you, looked at you with what he could see, that I like this woman and I want to marry her. And so, if he likes you, if there are things that you still feel you want to talk about, he's your spouse. Go ahead and talk about it. Be open. Talk about it. It's all about intimacy. Connect with each other and let the other person understand where you are coming from so that you can enjoy yourself, because sexual intimacy connects you soul, spirit, and body. It's not just a physical act. It connects you. So it's a mind. It starts from the mind first. And so both of you must be in it together. And you must come clean with each other as much as possible so that you can understand, you can empathize, and you can connect with yourself sexually so that you can enjoy yourself and pleasure yourself the way you want to. And sometimes people talk about, oh, what do we do? How do we do it? I don't know. I don't care. What is good for you? What do you think you want to achieve? How do you want to achieve it? It's between the two of you. Nobody's going to legislate over what you do behind closed doors. It's for you. It's for your own soul pleasure and intimacy. So have fun while doing it. So remember, communicate and empathize with one another and have fun. So until I come your way again, enjoy and keep enjoying and loving yourself.